and welcome to my kitchen. My name's Laurie Lufkin, and guess what? I'm a New Englander. My mother's a New Englander. We're all New Englanders. And I'm going to make for you today New England clam chowder. But before Lactaid, my poor mother, she couldn't have any. So I'm going to use the delicious Lactaid products to make New England clam chowder. And a bonus for you, I'm going to show you how to make homemade oyster crackers using the Lactaid too. So let's get started. I have 4 cups of clam broth here. I'm putting in 4 cups of diced Maine potato. And we're just going to let those do their thing. We're going to let them get fork tender, and that's it. Set that aside. And in the meantime, I'm going to start making crackers for you. I got my yeast, and my salt, and my sugar, and my milk, my Lactaid milk, which is over here. See? Nice and warm, but not hot. Not going to kill the yeast. We're putting this in. We're putting a tiny bit of sugar in, and we're going to let it foam up. We're going to let it go until it forms a dough. So my potatoes are fork tender. I'm turning them off. But I want this beautiful broth. It's full of the starch from the potatoes, so I'm going to carefully pour it in this bowl. My bacon's going to be cooking right here. Going back on here. There we go. Nice heavy pot. Little tip about bacon. You want to cut it, you want to dice it frozen. So much easier to do. So here we go on the crackers. You saw what I did in the food processor. So easy. I'm only going to dump out half so we don't have a gigantic mess here, but this makes a whole bunch of crackers. What you do, just say this looks a little funny, Laurie. This is never going to roll out. Well, guess what? It is. So my dough came together. I had to sprinkle it with a little bit of Lactaid. It's a darn good thing I had it, huh? It's a little dry, but you know how that happens with pie crust. Sometimes it's sort of the same process here. So I've rolled it out. I'm going to fold it into thirds on each other, and that's going to start making the layers of the crackers. And here we go again. So the cooked bacon is out. As you can see, crispy deliciousness. 1 cup of white onion goes in, as does a teaspoon of dried thyme. A little bit of salt, not too much, because the bacon's a little salty. And here we go on the crackers. I've rolled this and folded it 3 times. I'm going to take my Lactaid, my pastry brush, give it a quick brush over the top. And you know why I'm doing that? Because I'm going to sprinkle a little salt before I cut it into tiny little crackers. Look at these little pillows of deliciousness. So my onions are nice and translucent, and all the herbs and the salt and the pepper and everything are all together. And I had thrown in a bay leaf just for a little extra flavor. I'm throwing the clam broth back in, the one that I cooked the potatoes in. And I'm going to bring this to a simmer. So we've got our broth is at a simmer. We're going to throw in the clams. Now these are all cooked. Our potatoes back in. They're all cooked. Remember we cooked them in the clam broth? So this is it, the last step. We have 3 cups of Lactaid whole milk. And then we're going to use half, which is a pint, of this quart of half and half. The Lactaid half and half, which is really going to add a nice creamy quality to this. We give it one final stir. Look how beautiful this is. Now this is happiness and love in a pot, I gotta tell you. And this is for you, Mom. Here's to you some delicious Lactaid New England clam chowder with handmade oyster crackers.